This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I have Patrick Mahaffey in the studio today. Really good friend of mine. Haven't known him for a real long time. My business partner went to college with him at A&M, where Mr. Mahaffey got a 7-year degree and a master's in engineering. So poses the question, why in the hell are you finding houses if you got a master's degree in engineering? We're going to get to all that in just a minute. Patrick Mahaffey, how you doing today, Patrick?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. Hey, so that's the first time I've ever done that. You're on my second podcast video live ever. So anything can happen. And if something happens, we'll just say life happens and keep moving, okay? So we're both learning here. I wanted you here because you have a unique story. Tell us a little bit about your history.
So, as you mentioned, I went to Texas A&M. I was actually close friends, still am, with your partner, Mike. We were roommates.
Your roommates he was on the 7-year plan too, right?
Right.
Except he was just to get through the 4 years.
Exactly, yeah.
That's my business partner. Took him 7 years to get through the 4-year plan. In his defense, he paid for every penny of it himself, and he did it. He put himself through college selling commercial real estate in his early 20s, which was, pretty big deal.
Oh yeah, he was always busy.
But you were focused. You're going to become an engineer, right?
Engineer, yes.
What kind of engineer?
Mechanical.
A mechanical engineer.
Right.
Okay, so you get through 4 years of mechanical engineering, and you say, now I'm going to go for my master's.
Right. Stuck around, went for my master's, and just started looking for jobs after that.
So another 3 years getting your master's. So you're in college 7 years too.
Right. Yeah.
Did you rack up some college debt there?
I did. It was quite a bit. Putting yourself through school twice.
Do you mind sharing how much?
That's fine. I think I walked away from the school with about $150,000 in debt total. Yeah, between both degrees. Yeah.
$150,000.
Yeah. So
How do you handle? You just figured you're going to get a job big enough and you're going to take part of it and work it down.
They say you're going to get a job that we'll start paying back the loans, and 20, 25, 30 years you'll get it done, and that's what everyone taught me. They said 20,
25 to 30 years. They expect you to carry this debt.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's sort of what we're taught, and just chip away at it as much as you can.
Did you get that? That's the plan. To rack up $150,000, and in 20, 25, 30 years, you'll eventually work through it.
Yeah.
I guess there's worse plans, but it doesn't smell good to me. You know what I mean? But you must have figured you're going to get a job. What did you think you're going to get a job at? What price range?
At price, I thought I was going to start at 80, maybe 85. They say, oh, you've got these extra degrees, and you're worth something, so to speak. So we'll start you out pretty high, and that's not what always happens. Some people get lucky. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. But it.
So when you got out of college, what did you start at?
I started at probably 67, 68, and then I moved on to the oil field past that. I started making 75 in the oil field. So. And that was another thing. A lot of people hear, oh, you make 6 figures or what have you in the oil field, and that's not what it was for a lot of the engineers. They just it's different when you look at it. Probably 75,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then the oil field goes bust.
Right.
And you get the call, and they're wanting to meet.
Nobody's immune to the layoffs. Yeah.
No one's immune.
Yeah.
So you get the call. They want you to bring your stuff in your truck to the yard.
Yeah.
So you already know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. When they want you in your truck to the yard,
oh yeah,
that's the big sign.
It was the best. I got the phone call. I said, hey Mike, you're busy tomorrow. I need you to follow me out to the yard. And he said, okay.
Yeah, well, Mike knows the oil field. He spent a little time there. So y'all both knew what the call was about, right?
Right.
Okay, so then you got a lot of time on your hands after that. Mm-hmm. Probably not the best feeling. Probably not.
No, it was a little nervous.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So, I was in San Antonio by that time. So I said, hey, Mike, I'm curious about this real estate stuff you do here. Can I tag along?
Yeah, I have plenty of time.
Yeah,
Can I
exactly.
tag along?
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
I don't have anywhere to be.
And you figured they'd call you back at some point.
When they actually did. Several times.
Okay, but let's don't get there yet.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
So you started tagging along with my partner.
Yeah.
And
so he'd point out houses and he'd say, okay, let's go check this out. And I said, why would you want that? He said, what do you mean? I was like, that's trash. He's like, I know there's a lot of money to be had.
There's a lot of money in that trash.
Yeah, I said, I don't get it. You'll have to explain it. And you'll have to explain it. You'll have to explain it. So there was a lot I didn't get.
So I remember him telling me, he is an engineer's engineer. You got to explain it a lot to him. You got to give him numbers.
Yeah.
You got to show him the chart and the graph and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you went home and like reanalyzed it again, right?
Analyze it. Give me books. I'm better with books. Let me sit down in a classroom kind of thing. It's all very tough learning curve for someone like me.
Yeah. I honestly, I didn't. When he said, "Do you care if, I work with Patrick for a little while? He's an engineer." I says, "He's an engineer?" He goes, "Yeah." I says, "I don't think he's going to make it, but knock yourself out."
Sure. As long as he's not costing me time or money, it's okay.
Well, and hats off, you have a good friend there, because he said he's one of my best friends. I owe him some time, at this time. So he went out, but you did catch on, huh?
Yeah, it took me a minute, but I caught on. I started to see how it works and why it works so well.
And so, what were you making in the oil fields when they let you go?
When they let me go, I was making $75,000 a year.
$75,000 a year. How long have you been in the house finding business?
I've been in the real estate game for 3 years now. June 1st marks 3 years on the dot, since 2015.
So almost 3 years on the dot,
Yeah.
just about.
Yeah.
And so you've become a professional house finder, haven't you? Right?
I'd say so, yeah.
And you could do that anywhere, anytime, pretty much any place if you wanted to. I mean, there's places that works better than others, but
Sure, yeah. But I got the system.
it's a great talent to learn. What do you think you'll make? This is going to be your third year. What do you think you'll make?
At the end of 2018?
No, in the next 12 months.
Next 12 months, 110, maybe 120. So
110, 120, so exceeding what you hope to get out and make from that. But you had to take a step back too, because you didn't.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
What did you make the first year? Do you remember?
Ooh, I mean, maybe 40.
Maybe 40?
Maybe.
So you took a $20,000 pay cut to learn?
Yeah.
Okay, but learn something
Well, exactly.
that you don't have to ask permission to do.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the second year?
Probably 60, maybe 65.
65,000?
Yeah, so I saw that there was an increase and I was progressing. I was like, well, I have to, step it up a little bit and just sort of figure why, how can I make more? Why am I not making as much as, I could, or, whatever it was.
Okay, so then in year 3, you're looking to make 110 to 120.
Yeah.
And so things look pretty rosy, but that's not even there's no cap, there's still room to go, right?
Yeah,
So let's talk about 3 things.
Sure.
List scraping, skip tracing, and talking to prospects.
Okay.
What kind of list, or where are you going to, where does this all start? You have to have a list of somebody, right?
I like to make my own lists. A lot of it is, driving around, looking for what I would consider a vacant house, something that's a little rough that needs some work, or there's something missing. I look at properties that I figure, they've got a lot of taxes, that they owe. They're in arrears somehow. Maybe it's their mortgage, maybe it's property taxes, maybe they can't do anything with the house. They don't have any money somehow.
Yeah, they're getting fined for the grass being too high or something.
Right, yeah.
It's indicators that people are in trouble or going to be in trouble, or that mortgage is going to be in trouble if they owe one. And just signs that people may want out. So is there any limit to the number of people? I mean, are you struggling to find these lists, or they're like more than you'll ever do? Or what?
There's plenty to keep me busy. I'll put it that way. Yeah,
you're not going to run out, are you?
No. There's sometimes.
I mean, I already know the answers to this question. I just want to hear what his answer is.
Sure. Sometimes I forget about the ones that, I got to get back to this list. I got so much ahead of me, that I have to take care of. So there's always available houses.
One of the things that you've done really well is you don't let go of these viable.
No. I keep notes on every single property, because I'll get a call 8, 10, 14 months later. Hey, do you remember me? Yeah. Which house? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll go back to my notes. Oh, yeah, I offered this much, or here's what I can do, and there's another property.
What's the oldest one you've got?
The oldest one where it took a long time, I'd say 2.5 years. 2.5 years.
Yeah. Stayed up with someone, kept his notes ready and available for 2.5 years. He got the call. What was that one worth? Do you remember? Profit-wise. What was the house worth, profit-wise?
It's worth $135. I picked it up for $50.
So $85,000. $85,000 was what that 2.5 year patience was worth. 2.5 years worth of patience.
Yeah.
Follow up.
Oh yeah.
Stickability. Write that down. Stickability. This man has huge stickability. He doesn't let go of anything. So, so you got your list. You're doing skip tracing. How are you finding these people?
Right. So, I mean, anyone can really sort of knock on doors and go talk to neighbors, and that's always a nice tried and true method. But sometimes you won't find anybody, or they'll say, "Oh, I haven't seen him in 10 years." Well, where do you go from there? Sometimes you need to dig a little deeper for resources. I have access to a skip tracing resource. It costs some money, but it's well worth it. I mean, you have people that leave Texas and they move off to California or Montana. You know, you're gonna go fly over and see them? Probably not.
So you're using skip tracing. Not all skip tracing softwares are equal, are they?
No.
And some of the best are more expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay. It's an investment, but honestly, if you measure out what you're paying versus the number of properties you get, sometimes you need one deal to pay for it and then some.
So let's talk about that. How many deals do you expect to do in 2018?
2018, I'd say probably 40 to 45 deals taken down completely.
You're not flipping contracts. You're taking them down.
No assignments. It's all 100% take down, get signatures, and go straight to the title company.
So he's not flipping contracts. He's going to take down 40 to 45 houses in his third year in business. That's pretty damn good.
I think so. I appreciate it.
And you're saying that you're going to make between probably 110 and 120.
Right.
But a home run can happen like at any moment and change that to 140 like nothing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I know. I like to say every dog finds a bone every now and then. Even a blind dog can find a bone every now and then. And every year I have one house that makes me an extra surprisingly out of the blue 90,000 or 70,000. Just wasn't counting on it. You know, didn't even know it came with those other two lots.
Exactly.
You know, just happened to figure it out a little bit late. Do you use a script, or by now you've...
I used to use a script. It's tough to say what I had written on it, but honestly, I look at every property different. I tailor what I say on the phone to what I think the problem is or how I can relate to the person. I've seen some scripts, they just sound too automated. I just sort of put my own spin on everyone. Basically.
Put your personality into it?
Yeah, put the personality into it. You sound different on the phone, like, you know, someone they can actually talk to for a second instead of hanging up. I did that a lot at first. I introduced myself a certain way. I had a script, and I can't tell you how many times they slammed the phone down.
So you said that's not working, so I got to find something else to do.
Exactly.
How many people do you call that are behind or having troubles or upset with you?
Oh, that are upset with me.
Because you're calling them wanting to buy their house out of the blue.
Out of the clear blue, yeah. They say, you know, they've either talked to someone before or leave me alone or whatever, but, you know, I try to be nice enough. I mean, I'd say 100% of the people, but call-wise during the week, maybe 40 different people. 40
different people
Yeah.
will get mad at you every week for calling them.
Yeah.
Or they're not really happy to hear from you.
They're not too pleased. Hey, you caught me at a bad time. Or,
hey, did you hear that, you guys? So if you're going to quit when people get kind of aggravated or messed up or hang up the phone or even cuss you out, don't even start, because it sounds like it happens often, but you're just trying to kill them with kindness, right?
Oh, of course. Well, you got to put yourself in their shoes, too. If you get a call from a stranger and they start, hey, you know, your house looks rough, no one's going to take kindly to that. No one ever does. I've gotten a lot of, you know, where do you get off thinking this? How dare you say that? Oh, I didn't mean it personally, so let's back up a little bit. So how many calls do you have a set amount of calls you try to do every day? I try to call on 10 different properties a day. I said it 10 properties because you never know how many people you have to call per property. You're not calling 10 people, you're probably calling 20 people. Okay, so he's trying to contact the owner of 10 properties a day, which means he might have to make 20 to 30 phone calls a day to figure out who the owner is, or can't find the owner of that one, got to pick up another one on the list. So it could be even more than that on some days, right? Yeah. But your goal is to talk to the owner of 10 properties a day. Sure. If you talk to the owner of 10 properties a day, I guess if I do the math, you're going to buy 40 to 45 houses that year. So you're trying to pick up, what is that math? Well, if you called on 50 properties in a week, or you just try to reach out to 50 different people, there's no reason not to pick up at least one, which doesn't sound, too encouraging, but you got to remember, not getting a hold of people being mad, setting up an appointment a week, that's actually pretty good. And if those went successful, that's, 52 properties in a year. Think about the money there. Those are really good odds. They sound discouraging at first, but
well, yeah, but that's one of the reasons I wanted to pull the numbers out, because once you know how many numbers or the level of numbers or the level of calls you have to make, then you can just set yourself up for it. You can gear yourself up for it. You could get. Do you ever get VAs to help you make calls, or do you have VAs helping you do anything?
I've had some, yeah. So I've got a set number. People I got to call, but I'm too busy taking care of something else. Hey, let me get a VA in charge. Here's the phone numbers I need. Or,
see if any of them happen to be the owner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get back to me if you get a response or whatever response you get, and I'll take it from there.
What do you pay your VA?
It's usually just a few bucks an hour.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Philippines?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the best. Yeah, because
probably no more than $5. You paid them $5 an hour. They're keen.
Right.
Keen to do.
Yeah, they're sticking around.
Okay, so what do you think your average profit per house is after you split with partners or pay your private money? I guess probably what is it about?
That's tough.
$3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah,
but
I'd say anywhere from 3 to 5. A little bit more. Sometimes you have bad deals, or sometimes there's too much money involved. But yeah, 3 to 5.
And then there's always that transition where, because you're pretty much you've been wholesaling your deals pretty much, or teaming up with someone, right? So
right.
You're getting cut in half, or maybe even more than half.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. But everybody starts that way. 40-50% of something's way better than 100% of nothing, and you're your own boss. Tell me what is the average day in a life for Patrick Mahaffey? Like, you wake up on Monday morning, what happens?
I think that's the best part, is every day's different. I'll make a list. I'll burn through it somehow. Either I create the list, I do research, whatever in the morning. I try to make a lot of phone calls before lunch.
So what time do you get up?
I get up every day, probably about 6 o'clock, maybe sooner. So there's a time frame where I get to work and nobody bothers me. So then once everybody's awake, I get to bother them.
Okay, so he gets up early enough that no one's bothering him, and then by the time everybody wakes up, he starts bothering people.
Yeah. Kindly bothering
people.
Yeah.
And then you go till lunch, then what happens?
Right. After lunch, I try to switch gears and probably look for more houses, more deals. I get out, drive around, make new lists, just sort of freshen everything up. And then I wait for the return phone calls. So those always start to trickle in too.
Okay, so do you take a break between noon or
I really just sort of switch gears.
Switch gears?
Yeah, that's about the best I can say.
It's out from behind the computer, off the phone. Now we're in the truck.
Yes.
Doing whatever.
We're driving around. We're picking a new neighborhood, different zip code. Say, hey, I haven't been over here before. Let's see what we can find.
Yeah, you're either calling on people that were interested, and if there's no appointments that day to call on, then he's in his truck and he's checking out new neighborhoods, driving for dollars, making something happen. I find when I'm knocking on the doors of those vacant houses, and the 2 houses to the right and the 2 houses to the left and the 4 across the street, I buy houses. It's not the house I'm knocking on the door for, though. Do you find that to be true? Because I always thought there's a better chance that I'm just going to buy a house from any of those people that's unrelated to the house I want to talk to them about, which is the vacant house next door. But when you just tell people what you do,
when I tell people what I do, is sometimes they might get just as mad as the person on the phone, or sometimes they say, well, actually I've been looking for someone like you. I'll say, hey, can you let me know when so and so gets back? I'm curious about this house. Introduce myself. Here's a business card. They sort of give me the okay, will do, I'll see what I can do. And you can tell it's, there's not a lot there. I take 2 steps and I turn around and I say, by the way, when you help me out with this and you get me in contact and I'm able to buy it, I'll help you out. I'll kick you a referral. Anytime you mention that, they say, by the way, there's 4 houses over here and there.
Then they start coming through. So it's important to remember to offer them a referral.
Yeah.
How much do you offer?
Anywhere from $500 to $1,000. And I tell them, I say, hey, look, I've given people $1,200 before. Sometimes I can only get $5, anywhere in between. And they hear that and they say, there's no way he's going to cut me a check for $500 for hooking him up with a phone number. And then I hand deliver it. And they say, well, there's actually 2 more houses behind me. So it keeps going. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get off that subject. What I'd like to do right now is get some of the ideas of entrepreneurship. What is it you like best about the position you're in now, where you're your own boss and you're in control of your own income? What do you like best about that?
So I'd say the easiest thing is obviously the freedom. It's the best feeling. You can't really trade it for anything. But one thing I've seen, and I've been a part of in this business, is there's a lot of creativity that you can't be taught in the classroom. There's not a lot of books on it. You just have to be a part of it. Get some experience, work with others who have done
Interesting.
it.
So you like the out of the boxness of the whole thing, and like trying to strategically figure out.
Right.
It's the puzzle.
Yeah.
It's your crossword puzzle.
Exactly.
People go get a crossword puzzle. You're like, how am I going to find this guy, or how am I going to buy this house?
How can I structure the deal to make this work for both people? They're happy. I get a house out of it, and then it's something new every time. So that's you can't trade that for anything.
All right, and before we wrap it up, what advice do you have for some of the young investors out there or young entrepreneurs out there?
I'd say just don't give up. You're not going to do the best when you start. A lot of people expect to become millionaires within a couple of deals. It's not that easy, but if you stick it out, if you weather the storm, it'll work.
Get educated.
Yeah.
And work.
Yeah.
Get educated and work.
Work hard, yeah.
All right, well, I want the people on Facebook to do me a favor. I want you to give a lot of love to Mr. Patrick Mahaffey right here. So, that little heart thing on your phone, will you please hit your hearts, okay? And then I'm just Mitch Stevens, so you could just like me. I'm that little blue button over there, so you could just like me, but love him, but at least like me, okay? And if you would like to let the world know that Mitch Stevens and the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast is now video and audio. The audio is still going to be there. The audio podcast will always still be there, but you'll have a choice now to be video and audio. So, check us out on YouTube. We'll be out there soon. I'm not exactly even know the link. They haven't told me yet. So, but we'll be posting over 6 or 7 interviews that have been happening right now. Yesterday was my first live video interview with Mr. David Held from Endura, who's commercial leasing and commercial real estate. Do me a favor and hit that share button. Hit it a couple times. Will you share that button? Share it with your friends. Let the world know that we're out there in this new venue, because I really appreciate it. And the only reason I'm doing this at all is because you guys so enthusiastically support the audio podcast that it was the next logical step. So I appreciate everyone being here. Patrick, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm not down the street. I'm a pretty long way, so he had to make a real effort to get here. Wave goodbye to everybody. This is Mitch Stevens with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast, and we're out of here.